Good morning, good afternoon, good evening. How is everybody doing this fine day? However, this finds you. All right, things going swimmingly this fine November 9th, Saturday morning. If you see this after the live stream, thanks for joining. How's everybody doing? Roger, I think you were the first. Nicely done. Good to see you. Ryan, Victor, Joe, good morning. Hoos, Shambat, Flint, Tad, morning. Wayne, good to see you. Fraser, hello. Aaron, good to see you. Thanks for supporting the show. Yeah. So for those of you that may see this after the live stream or even pop in and see it like starting at the beginning when I'm in the middle of the stream, which you can do DVR style. I'm Sean. I'm just a role-playing gamer and love the hobby and was on a podcast called Gaming NBS for quite some time and started live streaming 2000 and was it 2020, 2022? It was before the end of the Gaming NBS podcast, believe it or not. Some of the folks in the chat are friends and gaming acquaintances. I've gamed with quite a few of them, actually. Thanks. Yeah. Here every Saturday I get on at 8 a.m. Central Time and stream and talk about RPGs, mostly about new releases, print releases, crowdfunding, with help from some sources online. So good to see everybody. What's new? Should we just go into I don't have anything to like pick apart this morning necessarily or like elaborate on that would I don't like my animals. We want to talk about cats and dogs. Mass hysteria. Question of the day. Hey, why don't we do that? Should we do a question of the day? Question of the episode or stream or whatever. Cheers. Ryan's reminding me we should do that. I have one. I don't know if it's a good one. It's one, I shall say. Oh, you've got one? Well, hold on a second. Maybe mine's not that great. Love Sean's 2024 5e character builds. Werewolf, Wild West, Super Spy, Vampire, D&D in space. What kind of mashup genre would you like to run or play? That's a good one. I like that one. I like it better than the one that I came up with that I don't know if I actually I don't know if I have asked before. I lose track. Although I keep track, but then I lose track. Let me see if I could put that into the question du jour so everybody could see it should they arrive later than normal. All right. It's gonna be long, so I gotta kind of succinct it, or else it'll screw up my overlay. We'll just put in what kind of mashup of genre / game would you like to run or play? I have some examples, so I can. All right. Thanks to Ryan West for putting this out there. There has been a few. Hey, Matt, good to see you. Laramie, good to see you. Here again, it's all right. We're allowed one free tardy. And then after that, it's off to the principal's office. So the question of the day Ryan says, Werewolf, Wild West, Super Spy, Vampire, D&D in space. What kind of mashup of genres would you like to run or play? And I would say mashup of genre or like games or whatever. Because sometimes games or movies or themes or something in a game, right? Like Carl Kiesler's done this quite a bit. If you haven't, I mentioned Carl on the stream every once in a while. He's a big Savage Worlds advocate and fan, and he does quite a few convention games during the year. He's also a very good, talented graphic artist, and he runs games like Goonies meets the Ghostbusters. So I would consider that something that falls in line with the question of the day. I've thought about this, and for convention games, it would be, I think, more appealing than running a long term like Goonies versus meets the Ghostbusters or something along those lines. He's also done Sharknado, Savage Worlds, not necessarily a mashup, if you will, but it'd be like, the Smurfs. I don't know, whatever. It's gritty Smurf Merkborg, which is there's an actual game about. So Gabe says no mashups for me. I was the kid who thought blending the genre with my action figures was anathema. No Star Wars plus G.I. Joe. I'm glad you elaborated, Gabe, where you mentioned no mashups for you. They could have ended right there. But instead, he went into his childhood background. I would like you to feel free to lay on the couch and let me grab my notebook and pen, and we'll go back. We'll go back to Gabe's childhood, because it's obviously formed an opinion, which many of us have experienced. Mr. White, good to see you. Oh, there's one. Matt says Stoner Scooby-Doo. Is that a mashup? I don't know. I don't know if hey Matt, Shaggy and Scooby, I don't know if you know this, but they were high dogs. Like, I don't. There you go. God, just nothing you would do, hey Gabe? Okay, that's fair. That's fine. I get it. I have been like that myself. I would not, like I said, I would not run a long-term game mashup thing. I don't think ever. But if it was a one-shot, I would. Or if I wanted to like play in one, that would be off the hook. Ryan West says Smurfs in space. Maybe. Smurfs in space. Daryl, TMNT and Firefly sounds fun. Well, there you go. Get them out of the sewers, right? And put them in a spaceship. Weird West is like a mashup, right? That's like a standard one, Laramie says. I would say, so yeah, I mean, there's no wrong answer necessarily. But I would say Weird West is a mashup, right? It's a mashup of Western and horror, which seems like it's just kind of the thing. Like even Delta Green could be a mashup a little bit, right? So I guess my I would never run a game long term that was considered a mashup might not be completely accurate. Guilty. Because the mythos, and it's not really espionage necessarily, but what's up, Michael? Good to see you. Tad says sci-fi plus horrors, potent combo. Yeah, for sure. That's a pretty standard one. Ryan says I ran superheroes in space for a couple games. That would be an interesting one. Vikings meets Dark Sun. Okay, says Flint. Palladium books did TMNT in space and across dimensions. Great source books for the TMNT RPG. Look at that. The more you know. Harrigan says, I generally agree with Gabe. Okay, make screenshot that. I like clean boundaries. And also would not cross toy streams. Woof. Zombies meet superheroes, but I would only do it as a one-shot. I think that's kind of the shtick, right? I think many of us would probably be like, no. Stop. But a one-shot? I mean, low fantasy Wild West, mainly for the soundtrack. I mean, another one is like Aliens versus Cowboys, right? There was a movie with James Bond in it, right? Daniel Craig, I think, right? Aliens versus Cowboys. How many appreciate? Oh my God, I always forget the module. What's the module? It's a mashup, right? Crap. Harrigan says, however, I do think Breakers, which is a mashup in a. Oh, excuse me. Apologies as I just blow air into the microphone. However, I do think Breakers, which is a mashup in a way, is brilliant, and I like the idea of getting modern day characters lost in the mists of Ravenloft. Vampires and Nazis, aka Eat the Reich. Yeah, that's yep. There you go, Leland. There he goes. Good to see you, Leland. Thanks for joining. And chiming in, no less. Yes, Cowboys and Aliens with Daniel Craig. Absolutely. Like, what, I mean, yeah, never mind. I was going to say, like, what movies have you ever gone into? You're like, oh, we're going to go see this movie. And then it pivots. Excuse me. I would never recommend doing that, by the way. Although, yeah, I don't know. It's like a tricky thing. Like I was going to say, have you ever gone into a movie and thought like, oh, we're going to go see a Western, and then it takes a right turn? You're like, what? They come, they cross a spaceship or something. Or, and would you want to keep that from the players? Kind of, that's the bait and switch debate, right? Rango meets Mad Max. Oh, and Aaron says, and Harrison Ford's in that. Cowboys versus Aliens, right? Yeah. Fraser says, I ran a year-plus long campaign based on the themes post-apocalypse, plague, steampunk, vampires, and MMA. You sure you didn't, miss anything in that, Fraser? Barrier Peaks. See, I always forget Barrier Peaks. Yeah, Barrier Peaks. Who played Barrier Peaks? Who played it? And I want to know, did it, when you discovered what was going on, were you perturbed? I kind of was. But at the beginning, it was very much I think I've said this before, the DM did everything in their power to describe things in a manner that would just be for face value without elaborating on future, using the terminology we would use in common day. Oops, it skipped on me. 1800s era ocean exploration in the Arctic via Pirate Berg. I suppose it's just a setting change, but the Netflix series The Terror got me thinking about it. Michael Howard says, I like to run something like the 100 Years' War, but in the Traveler setting. Ryan West, the movie Ravenous did that, I think. At least I had no idea that was going to happen. I've not watched it. The Hidden, and it was one of the best movie experiences of my life as a result. Whoa. Strong feeling, strong words, strong experience. Interesting. I don't know if I've seen that. Now I got to go see these. Now I'll be waiting for it. I saw Predator. Predator was one, right? Predator was perfect. Predator. Like, okay, spoilers, Predator. Predator is probably the best. I'm not the best, but it is. Thank you for hitting that, showing me that. Thank you for noting that, Tad. Predator is a great one. With a bunch of friends and thought it was a straight Arnold action movie. Well, it was, but yeah, it was totally Commando at the beginning, right? What the hell? Oh boy. I put the Golden Girls in my nightmare game last month. They were shape-changing Asmodee creatures of the Night Lords who came to torment the PCs. That's good money. Estelle Getty, hell yeah. I've never heard of the Barrier Peaks. The Hidden, another vote for The Hidden. Hoos, Barrier Peaks was the final straw with D&D published adventures. That's the one that turned Hoos sideways. Played it. I remember several PCs dying. Yeah. Predator's a mashup for sure. Yeah, it is. True Detective Season 1 shocked me the first time I saw it. Did not expect the King in Yellow. Spoilers. When is spoilers not a thing? Like, I don't know. What's the time? A year? You have a year to see it. If you haven't seen it, tough crap. Nightbane is pretty cool setting. Is in Barrier Peaks, I always wanted to have the wrestler robot bite a PC's nose off and reduce his charisma to 3. And you could still do that. There's not saying you can't do that. By the way, good to see you, Andy. Good turnout today, RPG Gen Exile. Morning. Talking mashups. What game mashup genres, games, movies would you be interested in doing a mashup? Or maybe you have already. We went from that to what movie have you watched that has like been a bait and switch? Like you go in there like Predator thinking it's a combat Arnold Schwarzenegger 80s action movie, which it kind of is, but then it really kind of takes a right turn, right? It's been tempting to turn my Twilight 2000 game into a Walking Dead game as a surprise to my players, and I think they'd be into it, but it could be tricky. For sure. Like, it's going to be awesome, or it is going to be a huge bust. I don't know if there's a happy medium. I don't know if there's a, okay, all right, fine, I get this. Like, we're in Twilight 2000, and we're going to go into this town that seems oddly abandoned. But, it's war. By the way, at night, things go creepy crawly in the night, and, like, it becomes The Thing. Oh, Twilight 2000 meets The Thing. Oh, yes, please. Right? But horror is, I think, a unique one, because I think you could always... Not always, but I think you can inject horror components into almost any RPG and amp it up a little bit. No? Am I off base on that? I love mashups because imagination is good and genre is an artifice way. An artifice anyway, sorry. Yeah. Red Barrier Peaks as a young GM would not run it. Yeah, neither would I. I played it, though. And then when it was like... I think there was like a bike or a motorcycle in it or something, or a space like speeder. Nope. Star Wars plus Delta Green. Ooh. I don't know. Because Star Wars is so space opera. I'd have to. I don't know, Ryan. I don't know. It's occurred to me like, oh, could I do Star Wars and something else? And I don't know, maybe. Just don't know. Shadowrun and Rifts? Nope, not for me. Yeah, I was in the same kind of boat for Shadowrun. But I've played it. I've set the things that kind of make it Shadowrun aside in my brain. Plus, it's kind of weird anyway, because sometimes I go, oh, the guy is playing like Doc would play a troll. And I go, oh, he's just a big, huge human dude, right? Like a huge, super, take steroids from the time you were like 6 years old person and that you're huge and you can smash things. Hulk smash. I don't know. That goes back to the argument about demi-humans or different species in a fantasy game, right? Like some people will say, I really want the sort, like they talk about on Analytic Dice, Gabe and Kevin's podcast. Analytic Dice, go check it out. But, Gabe is a fan of sword and sandals, or swords and sorcery, wizard, swords and sorcery. And with that comes certain things, components. And where am I going with this? Oh, and one of them is like all humans, right? And like there's the argument of, well, if you play an alpha dwarf, a halfling, you're playing a species that you have no understanding of, and it's hard to, but they end up becoming just humans with different ability benefits, would be the argument. The Sliders count as a mashup? Sliders, if you're not familiar with what is that, 90s probably era, Ryan? So Sliders was a show with, what's his name from Stand By Me, right? Jerry O'Donnell? I think he was in Sliders. Was he for a brief minute? Where they go through time loops or like different parallel universes. Probably, I would say. It's like a Connecticut Yankee in King Arthur's Court or something like that. I've always wanted to run Star Wars Clone Wars / Alien crossover. Ah, yes, the Clone Wars squad that goes into something to investigate and all hell breaks loose. Very, sounds like, I don't know, Marines going into something. And yeah, I don't think that leap is that far, right? With the context of the Clone Wars and being part of yeah, for sure. Daryl says, for the players that always joke, use a laugh meter for their roles. Mashup of Letterkenny and King of the Hill. That's hilarious. Yeah, that would be good. That would be good for sure. I think somebody's run an Archer game, but I think they literally ran it as just Archer, so it wasn't really a mashup, but some of those properties could be fun. Shambot says, you hit the nail on the head, Sean. It's either peanut butter and jelly time or it becomes a train wreck real quick. Well, and I'll even say that some people may not like peanut butter and jelly. Like, they're the ones that are like, here's my potatoes on my plate. Here's my peas. Here's my turkey. And they don't touch. Oh, okay. I'm very serious about that. Some people are like that. Who's this guy? Hey, Caverna. You didn't have anything else going on. Figured stop by. Good to see you. Dog Soldiers was a good bait and switch too. I've not watched it in a decade. Horror's the hot sauce of genres. It tastes great on everything. It just tingles your lips like as it goes in and kind of numbs up your tongue. Horror spans. Caverna says, mashup Dragonbane plus Shadowrun. Really? Like, would you run it? You would run like Dragonbane, like the races and everything, and then just drop them in like a Cyberpunk? Because Dragonbane is kind of like, or Shadowrun is kind of like, I mean, yeah. Michael says, Star Wars plus zombies work surprisingly well. See the Death Troopers novel. William, good to see you. Aaron says, I've also wanted to do a mashup. I see what I did there. I also wanted to do a MASH type hospital soap set in a Star Trek type future. Well, and there's some things, to your point, Aaron, that I find, like, my biggest one that I've mentioned before is running Star Wars Age of Rebellion or during the rise of the Empire and crossing that over with Inglourious Bastards, right? So I think there's like certain sources of inspiration, to your point, like MASH, and then put it in Star Trek. Because I think Star Trek can be a little like, everything's great and everything's awesome and, we all get along. Although there's a lot of conflicts within space, it doesn't get, like MASH is kind of, it's funny because MASH was a comedy drama, but there was funny elements to it. I mean, they had a laugh track to it, but I mean, it was still dealing with the what is war, right? Space slash soap opera. Oh, okay. Tagging onto his MASH type hospital soap set. Interesting. Isn't the Bad Batch basically Star Wars and G.I. Joe? I could see that. Forbidden Lands plus Zombicide. Whoa. Yeah. There it is. 95 to 2000, Ryan's looked it up. Sliders. Jerry and Charlie O'Connell. Oh, I didn't know his brother was in it. And then Gimli. Yeah, that's right. I forgot Gimli was in it. Slider style, okay, as is straight time travel. I've long wanted to run a time travel game ever since Steve Jackson finally wrote GURPS Time Travel. Have you seen the Kevin Culp's Time Watch? Do you have that, Harrigan? John Rhys Davies. Yeah. Sliders. Before he was that before Indiana Jones? I think it was after, right? Horror plus low power level superheroes. Nelson, good to see you. Whoops. Come on now. Nelson, Eat the Reich looks cool. Vampire Commandos against Nazis. Well, it's like NBA, right? Knights Black Agents. It's a mashup. It's kind of special ops. That is probably has more espionage potential because of the conspirament, maybe. I don't know. Maybe, kind of, sort of. Versus vampires. MASH dramedy. We saw some of those specific Star Trek medical experiences in Stars. Was SNW? Stars not what? SNW. Why am I drawing a blank? I was going to say Stars Without Number, but I have it transposed. Strange New Worlds. That's what it was. Sorry, it took me a bit. There it is. Shambot got it for me. Didn't Charlie's character replace Jerry's character when Jerry made it home? Oh, interesting. Sliders conversation ensues. L5R plus Shadowrun. What's up, Rockbeard? Good to see you. Thanks for joining. L5R plus Shadowrun. Ooh, interesting. L5R is a little... I mean, I know of the game, but I've never played it. Forbidden Lands and Zombicide is Zombicide Black Plague, and it's great. Have time watch, have not read. Got it. This gave me an idea. Run a slider-style game using The Strange from Monty Cook Games. Hateful Eight meets Shaun of the Dead. Throwing in zombies is always good, right? Okay. I think we got we've got a few people that have their work cut out for them. I mean, even Walking Dead is kind of a mashup, right? Because one could argue it's post-apocalyptic and a zombie. Because you could have zombies exist in like non-post-apocalyptic, right? Like, what is it? Is 28 Days Later like that? Not really, right? That's kind of more... trying to 28 days or whatever. I don't know, there's 28 days later, I think. But anyways, I don't remember if it was already established that the world had gone to crap. Yeah, it doesn't matter. 28 days later is limited to the UK, so not PA. Not post-apocalyptic. Okay. World War Z, I think, would be a not apocalypse. Okay. Unless you're from UK, of course. Okay. All right. Well, thanks, everybody, for sharing your input. The category, true. The category is zombie apocalypse. Sean. That's true. So Shadowrun would be cyber fantasy. 28 weeks later had it spread. The end of the world by Fantasy Flight Games RPG was an interesting one because that was like it just starts. It was a good, interesting game. I don't even know if you can get it anymore. I shouldn't have gotten rid of it. Should I? I did. Doesn't matter. Doesn't matter. It's behind me. I'm beyond it. All right, let's get into let's go into RPG news. Whoosh. Not a lot of like news, I would say. And this one I just kind of pointed out. So Blades in the Dark fans have probably seen this. It's been making its way around the interwebs, if you will. Deep Cuts, a setting and system expansion from John Harper. So this is kind of going to the core. It's a 118-page expansion for the Blades in the Dark role-playing game containing a treasure trove of lore, setting material, and alternative mechanics that John has developed over the years for use in Blades campaigns. That's right. First part expands on the setting of the game, including 27 factions, over 100 heritage and background packages to flesh out the characters, and then 13 new innovations. So if you're like a Blades in the Dark fan, this is kind of you're like, hey, you have to get this. It's like mandatory. It's like against the law if you don't. So just saying. All right. I mean, are you really like a Blades in the Dark fan if you don't get this? I'm just saying. So there you go. Check that out. That's really kind of the only thing because I don't know. It is. It's a slow news week. What can I say? There's other stuff going on. Hey-oh. Oh, hey. Oh, hey. Let's not start that. Okay. Hey. Yeah, and I think it's $10. $10. Get it while it's hot. Gotta amp it up today. We got some new people in the chat. Maybe just new chiming in. They might have been lurking and now they've decided to be here in this place. Let's do bundles. Bundles. Bundle this, bundle that. First one up. Speaking of NBA, speaking of mashups, good segue. Kind of a little late though. Timing is off here. The Dracula dossier. If you haven't gotten this, it's been featured before as a bundle. So if you're like, I don't know, I should have got it. Well, hey, here you go. The universe works in mysterious ways. Gives you a second chance. PDFs. Dracula dossier is a great campaign for NBA. And it supports Deanna Jones, emerging designer. Sean, why do you say Deanna Jones? Isn't it Diana Jones? No. That's right. I'm on that hill, and I will die upon it. So you get Knights Black Agents core if you pay the minimum. So you get the PDF of the core rules, and then you get Dracula Unredacted, which is, if you can find it in physical, I don't know if you can anymore. It's a brick, but it's literally Bram Stoker's Dracula with a bunch of markup in it, which kind of might drive people crazy, but you get it in PDF here. And then you get the Edom Field Manual. That's base level here. And then if you kick in a little bit extra, you get the Director Collection, which is the Dracula Dossier Director's Handbook and deck. Then you get the Edom Files, the Hawkins Papers, the Thrill of Dracula, and then you get the Van Helsing letter, which is like, it was put out as a RPG, free RPG day module with 13th Agent and a Night's Black Agent's mission in it. So there you go. Totally worth it for $32. Just saying. Okay. All right. Link in the chats. And then there's another one, which will just, there's one. Well, maybe there's more than one I didn't even realize. The other one I had was Brancalonia Italian Spaghetti Fantasy 5e tabletop role-playing. So Kevin Saltheart, who is not here today, I don't believe, is a fan of this, and I think he has all the books. So it is in English and uses the 5th edition game. And it comes from Acheron Games out of Milan, Italy, originally. So it's set in a topsy-turvy version of medieval Italy. This unheroic, picaresque, and roguish world draws on Italian culture and pop culture from Umberto Eco to Corto Maltese, Renaissance epics, and Italia Calvino, The Princess Bride, Pinocchio, and 100 more. I've read The Name of the Rose. I wonder if that is the biggest book I've read. The longest book. Maybe. Like cover to cover. I think it is. It's a good book. Highly recommend. The movie's okay. Did I put the link in here? I did not. I will put it in there. Aaron says, I just picked up a hard copy of Dracula Unredacted in the campaign at GameholeCon last month. Well done. Bravo, sir. You have to let me know. That's Aaron. For those not in the chat, he was at GameholeCon with his buddy, and they played in was it 48 hours total? 12 hours a day? 48-hour Call of Cthulhu game, Mountains of Madness campaign. He's the guy. Foucault's Pendulum is a big one too. I should read that one. There's been a couple that I want to check into. Oh, it's about 44 hours, he says, over the weekend. Oh, that's true. There's some people that weren't in a GameholeCon that didn't know that this occurred. So yes, Aaron, aka Demon Grinder on Discord, him and his buddy Skip, both local guys. Aaron lives literally like 3 blocks away from me. And there was an event on, I didn't even know it was out there being offered, but it was a 44-hour Call of Cthulhu 7th edition game, and the guy was running the Mountains of Madness scenario, start to end, over the whole weekend. Shambot says, I saw that game on the list. That game looked intense. So there you go. There was also Corsairs Cthulhu, which I think I brought up last week. I'll put it in the link again. And some of these are counting down, so you only have a limited time. So if you get to this video, I mean, a lot of the stuff I put in here isn't evergreen, right? It's very much in the moment, except for any goofy dialogues that come up or side tangents. So this could be just a never-ending like funnel. So I didn't see this one. I keep hitting this wrong key on my keyboard. Teeth RPG, I didn't even know was out there. So you guys ever looked at Teeth? The fantasy horror tabletop role-playing game of occult crime and monster hunting in a cursed corner of the 18th century England. Grotesque, tragicomic meld of Blackladder and The Witcher. Teeth adapts the Forged in the Dark rules for monster hunting in the benighted Vale of the Duluth, which glories in revolting mutations, occasional insurrection, murderous hogmen, not hodgemen, that's a different one, and also murderous pies. You're supposedly a hunter charged with driving back monstrous incursions and protecting the trade in occult artifacts. But that is subterfuge. So there you go. Get the whole spiel for like just over $16.5 US. Just in case we have some folks like Fraser, not from... If I say dollars, it'll confuse them. So I have to say like US dollars, not Canadian dollars. Murderous John Hodgman. Yes, I think that's part of the game. And then there was also, I think, the Viking verse. So some of these end in 9 days from this recording. Some of these, end in 7 days, 11 days. This one ends in 11 days. So the Viking Universe Bundle, When the Wolf Comes, Ian Stewart Sharp's tabletop science fantasy role-playing game of Viking verse action from Schwab Entertainment based on Shadow of the Demon Lord. Vikingverse is set during a reimagined Ragnarok, the doom of the gods, fated to be devoured by the great wolf Fenrir. Odin defied the Norns by changing destiny, by granting forbidden knowledge to the Norse kingdoms. Now in the alternate present, expeditions of widefarers, rune masters, songsmiths, thread riders, number witches, and other Norse heroes travel the yawning void via the greenways of Yggdrasil and the world's tree. I think you had to spend like $15. There you go. There you go. Canadian dollars are often known in the U.S. as pennies. Fraser Ronald, our currency trading expert. Thank you, Fraser. Nelson, the conversion is no joke. Dracula Dossier is $32 US, cost me 46 Canadian. Whoosh, whoosh, woof, woof. That's all I think I have for bundles. I didn't probably put all those in there, but you can go to this site and you go to one that usually has a breadcrumb at the top with all the different ones. So check her out. Get some PDFs. Okay. If you want. Good deals. Good deals. All right. Let's do print news. Do we have... Where is my print news? Oh, that's fantastic. I think my printer is off. Yeah, for sure. My filter is off. Woof. What is new in print? Probably crowdfunding campaigns that are now available to buy, which is great. If you're like, hey, a year ago, Sean brought this up on stream about a crowdfunding campaign that I didn't want to back, but I'll just wait until it's out in print. And now, if you've continued to tune in, you are now made aware that it is out in print. And you're welcome. All right, first one up. Fever Swamp Remastered Deluxe Bundle by Melsonian Arts, OD&D, and OSR clones. Anybody get Fever Swamp? Fever Swamp The Cure. Should be a supplement, right? Inoculation. Not groovy. Did you say groovy? Ryan West, bonus XP for you. Bonus 10,000 XP for you this today for your use of the word groovy. Well done. Kevin, good to see you. Yep, in PDF. Harrigan, Tiz, got it. And the first edition. So there you go. Second one, No Time to Scream. 3 Evenings of Nightmare. I think they announced this coming out like right before Halloween here in the U.S., if I'm not mistaken. So it's for the 7th edition, 3 short play scenarios for a single evening of around 2 hours of mystery and horror. Get to the point, why don't you? Next one. It's got a little Modifius in there, it looks like. Solasta, Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition and Star Trek Adventures Game Toolkit. So Star Trek Adventures 2nd Edition is out in print. Go and grab it if you are a Star Trek fan. And we're put off by the 1st edition by Modifius. There you go. Do I need to go into this? Do I? There's also the Star Trek Adventures Game Toolkit, which will be interesting. The toolkit, if it's like the same, which I believe it is, contains a GM screen, A2 size map of the galaxy. The original GM screen for the 1st edition of Star Trek Adventures, which I have, had like the printouts for each station on the starship, which is great. Kind of what you could do. Reference sheets, which I think is probably in this one too. But it was like square. Like even the GM screen was like the square one. Like album square size, big. Odd thing to put on a shelf. Just saying. I think they might not have done that given this is an A2. I mean, the Galaxy is an A2 sized map. And the GM screen kind of looks like 8.5 by 11 US. Trifold. I don't know. Not trifold. Threefold? Because a trifold would be like a brochure, right? Like one paper? I don't know. It doesn't matter. I just hope it's not like album size. Anyways, moving on. Shadowrun. What? This 1st edition? Hey, everybody. It's 1980. We're going to play Shadowrun 1st edition. Yeah. Anybody Shadowrun fans of 1st edition? Like, I think some that would be a fan of Shadowrun and have always loved it probably might have this already. Maybe? I don't know. It's an anniversary reproduction. Another mashup. Indeed, Ryan West. X-Crawl Classics role-playing game. So Brennan LaSalle's product is out. Delivered. X-Crawl Classics Core Book. Classics Core Rulebook. DJ Skull Edition. Hit it, DJ Skull. Wiki, wiki, wiki. X-Crawl Classics Reference Booklet. X-Crawl Classics Dice Set. X-Crawl Classics Mojo Tokens. Because we all could use a little bit of mojo. Am I right? And that is it for all of the print stuff that has been released. Thanks to Ian World. Go check out Ian's World. There's some ads on there that you can click on. Go nuts. Michael says, I picked up the very last copy of this book at Gen Con this year. I never owned the original print and wanted to add this to my collection. Are you talking about Shadowrun 1st edition? I'm guessing. Michael? Violence solves everything. Prefer 2nd and 3rd. But 1st is still better written and edited than the current 6th ed. 5th, I think, started getting wonky with its editing too. I played 5th edition. I think I played 5th edition. think I played 5th. And my buddy Jimmy is a big Shadowrun fan. And if he says that like it's kind of wonky or not edited well, I see him as the subject matter expert when it comes to Shadowrun and take his word for it. But I cannot comment. I think they also prefer 3rd. Aaron, you still own your Shadowrun 1st edition? It's kind of charming. Michael's got it. Yep. Yeah, that's what he's talking about. Yep. Oh, yeah, hit the like, would you guys? We got a pretty good turnout before everybody starts disappearing on me and going and realizing really what this is about and bolting. Thanks for the prompt, Laramie. Much appreciated, buddy. So that brings us to the last typical segment of this stream, and I just like locked my computer. Let's try this again, shall we? I gotta get rid of that hot corner. Hot corner. Crowdfunding. All right. Putting this out, a little prelim action. It is Mothership Month, apparently. All right. November, I think, right? Sean McCoy of Tuesday Night Games sent out an email and said, hey, here's some cool stuff that's going on. And oh, by the way, Wages of Sin, which is their first hardback book by Tuesday Night Games. Lots of like zines out there. Lots of brochure adventures. Like that's Mothership. And of course, there was Hull Breach, which is awesome. Hardback, but that was by a third party. This could be by Tuesday Night Games, which let's think that it will arrive on time. Let's just hope. And in the email, I guess I could have brought that email up, but it was just kind of going into some of the details. Wages of Sin, check it out when it comes out. If you're a Mothership fan, it sounds like a no-brainer. It's a bounty hunting toolkit for the Mothership sci-fi horror RPG. And you know what? In science fiction and all that cool stuff, I mean, bounty hunters, I mean, they kind of get a thumbs up, I think, right? So it's not out. It's coming in 3 days. 3 days, 3 hours, 7 minutes, 37 seconds. Stop. Next up. Rifts. Savage Worlds. Europa. Gear up. Mark your calendars. Rifters. We're thrilled to announce that our newest Kickstarter campaign for Rift Savage Worlds Europa is launching at noon Eastern on November 12th. Whew. Return to the Megaverse. Who do they got? 328 backed. 37. Oh, that's Shane. There's 1,000 followers following this. So, what do you think? Should we put out estimates? Could we put it? Hold on a second. Let's see if I can do this. Now I'm in the wrong browser. Let's do estimates. Anybody got an estimate of this? Get me out of here. Let's estimate. Let's first do Savage Worlds. What do we think? Now, because if you put it in the chat, it's kind of a contract. You stick to that number. So make sure you got your stuff together, okay? I'm just saying. Rifts Europa. Michael's like, I'm in, not even a question. Boom, bam, take his money. Fraser, not sure if this is on the radar, but Josh Jordan has a new Kickstarter for the game The Wids. I will look that up, sir. The Wids. Remind me to look up the Wids. The Wids RPG. The Wids. I don't see it, but that may mean that it's not out there yet. If you find it, let me know, Fraser. Josh is a great dude and a kind of unique designer. Interesting. Europe is one of the best developed locations in the setting. I think it will hit 300K, Michael says. Look at Prior Rifts World Editions, Savage Worlds Kickstarters. There are at least 2 of them. You remember what they did? It's got to be 100,000, right? 100,000 for Rifts. Let's go. Let me see. Can I click on? Oh, come on. Here we go. So let's just go to Shane's. Wait a minute. This is not created. That's what I need. I'm like, wow. Shane is back 328 Kickstarters. All right, so here's Shane's ones that he's created to VSE's credit. Rifts, Atlantis Rising, did 138. I'm going to guess that Europa does 150. What else? Rifts, American Armageddon. That did 230. Maybe I gotta adjust my estimate. I think I'm sure. Oh, the original or one of the originals. Rifts. This did 438. Maybe 200K for Europa? 175? I don't know. Somewhere in there. 100 to 200. Final answer. Closest without going over. Wayne, $1 billion. Though it's proven without a doubt, I am not qualified to estimate how anyone would vote with money or otherwise. Wayne, you got something you got to get off your chest? Shambot says 185. Do I hear 190? 190, 195, 187. Curious if Savage Worlds Rifts will make more than Palladium Rifts. Wow. $1. And $1 has it. All right, let's go next. Europa. Ashes without number. Or as Harrigan likes to say, what is it? Books without number. 196K. Kevin Crawford cranking out without number. Anything, I got to say branding, right? Consistency. Anything related to Kevin Crawford without number. Everything should be without number. Kevin Crawford without number. His recent Kickstarter without number is Ashes without number at 196K. And it still has 21 days to go. Who got in on Ashes without number? This is a post-apocalyptic. End of the world. It's a tabletop role-playing game for the end of the world. So when you play it, the world ends. Like the real world ends. You're done. A world without number. Not to be mistaken for worlds without number. Words. That's what it was. Words without number. Thank you for the correction. Sean Kelly would like to issue a correction on the stream of held on November 9th at approximately 8:59 Central Time. We said books without number is meant to be words without number. Number without number, probably words without number. Yes, Gabe, that's right. Kevin without number. Ryan says I backed Cities. I'll probably get Ashes. I think what you need to do, is that really cross-compatible? Could you literally, like, speaking of mashups, hey-oh, could you literally make a character in Ashes or Stars Without Number? Like, so if you're Stars Without Number and you're in a sci-fi setting and you went to a world that was post-apocalyptic, then it would be Ashes Without Number. So, like, what would you be playing? You would be just playing. You would be just playing Without Number. Yes, it's supposed to be cross-compatible. So it's basically GURPS. Oh! Shots fired. I'm just kidding, Kevin. Just kidding. Just kidding. Kevin Without Number Crawford. Just kidding. Not them fighting words. Them are fighting words. Let's not get too crazy, okay? Yeah, the chat's going out. The chat Without Number is going nuts. Anyways, congratulations to Kevin. I mean, let's face it, folks. Cranking that stuff out. Curves Without Number. All right. So there you go. I should probably put that in chat so you all can back it. And then let's see. Make sure I am not missing anything before we head to Ian World. So Ian World, in case you didn't know, I usually feature this. They put it out, and here it is. They put them out. They put the campaigns in this update on their website when they're in their final days, which is like literally, 1 to 7 days, 1 week typically. So this one's 14th to the 20th of November. So if you look to crowdfund one of these and it's after the campaign has ended, some of them will take late pledges. Just so. Otherwise, you're SOL and you gotta wait till it comes out. First one, Ars Magica by Atlas Games. The question is, funded or no funded? Of course this thing is. They're on backer kit. So what did they do? What did they do? 200? 200K? 200K. It's 691. Wow. Dude, you're a little off. Indeed. 690K. And they still got 5 days. Can it break $700,000? Who got in on this? Come on now. The average pledge, does it say, was $150. And it's been around for a while, right? Daryl says, yeah, easily 700K, Sean. Easily, dude. For sure. Ars Magica Without Number. Next one. I didn't know it was going to end so quickly. I didn't know this was out already for as long as it was. Maybe it was a short campaign. I don't know. But Trail of Cthulhu 2nd Edition. Which I got rid of my Trail of Cthulhu 1st Edition. I don't know if it's better than Call of Cthulhu. Like, I haven't ran both like as much. I'd like to run. It would be kind of cool to run some of the classic Call of Cthulhu games using Trail, but I don't know. I know this one I can get after the Kickstarter, or the crowdfunding campaign, because it's done in a backer kit, folks. Not to be come on, it's a crowdfunding campaign done on the platform backer kit. But anyways, anybody getting on this? Where's my Gumshoe fans? I will definitely, that's a strong word. I am more likely to pick this up after the campaign because it probably maybe some stretch goals that, you know what? So be it. But getting just the core book I may get after the fact. Just saying. What did it do? It still got end date is November 7th. Holy cow, that was 2 days ago. So it's ended. Hey, Sean, what day is it, dude? Oh, it says 5 days left. What is going on here? Ian World. And they literally have end date November 7th. What? Come on. Journalism is dead. Just kidding. They're at 158 quid. 158,000 quid. 1,800 backers, 1,900 backers. 5 days left. Can it hit 160? Should. I need to give Gumshoe a fair shot, a fair shake. Oh, God. Harrigan. Ugh. 3 columns without number. I know, cringe. I know, man. I can't. Please. Hello, Pelgrim Press. This is a plea. Please don't make your books 3 columns anymore. Please. Moving forward on any new releases, revisions of releases. Please. Not 3 column. Oh, God, I just want to. And there's some mechanic that if enough money is contributed to it extends the close date. Does it? No. Really? BackerKit does that? Interesting. Run some Gumshoe at some cheap cons. I think it went well. Interesting. Yeah. I am a little baffled because I think when I was going to mark one of the marks I knew, Mark. I actually started in session 1 or 2 of his Night's Black Agent games. And one of the things that I didn't realize is when you create a character, I think I've said this before, when you create a character in at least his game and NBA, you don't allocate all your points right away. You hold them. And then when you need them, in the moment, you allocate them and then you can spend them or use them. So I think in my brain, I wasn't gumshoeing RPG correctly. Just saying. If you're a Gumshoe fan, you're probably like, duh, Sean. Anyways, Elf Quest, moving back to what's going on here. This ends on Tuesday, the 12th of November, 2024, in the year of our Lord. Sean's getting religious. 177K. There you go. Royal Blood. Rowan, Rook, and Deckard. So these 3, Rowan, Rook, and Deckard, did Eat the Reich. Now they have Royal Blood. An original system, core rules. 80 quid is the typical pledge number. You build a sorcerer king or witch queen using tarot cards and an original rule set designed for a single play session. This game allows you to create your character and steal from older powers that infect your world through corrupting capitalism. 103,000 quid of 50K funded. Slayer Survival Kit and Hunter's Journal from Evil Hat Productions on BackerKit. Powered by the Apocalypse Monster of the Week variant. Most popular pledge is 75 bones. Bones is the U.S. currency, by the way. In this context, you can use bones in your own native currency if you'd like. 126,000 U.S. dollars. 5 days left. And I'll tell you what, I gotta say, if it's Evil Hat, despite whether you like the publishing house and the stuff they put out or not, this thing will probably deliver on time or early for sure. Their track record is impeccable, comparatively speaking. Next one, no place like home brew, but not beer. Epic Worlds Built by You. From Roll and Play Press. System neutral, but with any edition D&D stat blocks. Source book, $50. Most popular pledge, 200-page book, gives you ideas and options to make your world more detailed and epic. $129K of $10K. There you go. 5 days to go. Titans of Fallen Earth. Kaiju versus Mecha role-playing game from Dueling Dragon Adventures, an original system. It uses D6 dice pools reminiscent of West End games. Not the same, but similar. There you go. Just funded. 6K of 5K, and that's it. And no EN World stuff. No EN World publishing stuff going on, which is surprising. That's it for the crowdfunding. Eileen, good morning. In Canadian, that's finger bones. Yeah, it's not femur bones. We keep those south of the border, south of the Canadian border. So there you go. That is all that she wrote, ladies and gentlemen. Do not know what to tell you. Update, Sean update. Sean gaming update. Still running Delta Green. Hope to wrap that up. Now I've said that for like probably 4 sessions. Probably said this for 4 streams now. But we shall see as the that kind of mini arc should come and wrap up. At least one person, 2 people, 3 people in the chat are in that game. 4 people, sorry, I keep going through them in my brain, are in the chat. Out of the 5 players, so that should be wrapping up. Caverna, you're going to be disappointed with this news, my man. My screen over here. Yeah. That's by design. I have a list of game-ending plans. Fear not. Harrigan missed the last session, so he's going to come in the next one and like turn everything on its head, is what he's saying. And then the Thursday night group that I play with, Harrigan, Kevin, Phil in the chat, Wayne Peacock, we are looking at. So we did the One Ring session, like fourth session, I think, of the One Ring, 2nd edition. Fun, interesting game, cool stuff, very Tolkien-esque, I think. Enjoying it. Great game master, Phil McClory. Thanks for running, buddy. And so now we're there's an itch. So I kind of drifted out of that group a little bit for a while, and they've accepted me back because I went groveling and I was holding on to their ankles, and they were dragging me across the floor, and they caved. I got them to cave. So during that kind of absence, they were talking about doing something a little bit longer because they had done some one-shots and some shorter 2, 3, 4 session runs of games. That's what we're doing with the One Ring 2nd edition right now. So there's talks of doing something longer term. And longer term probably could be, 6 months, a year? Probably a year long. We've done that with Forbidden Lands. Force ranked them and things like that. Some of the things that were on there were Delta Green. Delta Green, shocker, surprise. I wonder who put that on there. Mothership was on there. Outcast Silver Raiders. The Walking Dead. What else did I miss? There was like 5 or 6 of them on there. So I think Outcast Silver Raiders and The Walking Dead have come kind of bubbled up. If it's a longer term game, I may release it. I don't know. I haven't talked to the guys yet. Hey guys, I hate to put you on the spot. Maybe recording it and putting them out as actual plays like we did for Forbidden Lands. So we'll see. I think we still got like a couple weeks or a month to go before. Frankly, we may even, I don't know when the start goes, but Yeah, and then there's like the Shadowdark. Oh man, Ryan West. Yeah, I got to give Ryan some kudos, man. He is trying to get a session going in Shadowdark, the West Marches campaign. So that is like talk about pod fading. Poor campaign. Feel bad for those that were kind of. Oh, yeah, good point. Pendragon and Simbaroom were also on the list. So, he got votes and nominations. So we'll see about the Shadowdark. I don't want to let that go. I want to be able to throw it down if people are available and want to venture. But I got to say, it has fizzled for sure, for a variety of reasons. We shall see. We shall see. I should just either give it the kill message, or give it a kill message and then fire it back up like it's going to be readdressed. I have all the characters. People should keep their characters. So for some of you that aren't familiar, I was running Shadowdark West Marches. We had like 30 players sign up, and I think we started dwindling down to like 5 or 6 really kind of interested parties. The scheduling was kind of becoming a bummer to try to coordinate. I have my own theory about why I know why it's not being as successful as it could be. So we'll see. We'll see. Other than that, I think that's it. BSRCon maybe coming. This time last year, like badge sales were already done. So I am obviously behind the curve, behind the 8 ball, in front of the 8 ball, but behind the curve. Maybe on the curb, over the curve. Anyways, I think what I'm going to do is make it a little more unique. Not unique, that's not the word. Intimate. Not putting it out necessarily publicly on billboards, although one could argue like, what are you doing right now, dude? But not using tabletop events, using a spreadsheet, getting players to weigh in on the games that they want to play. Like, we used to have a gaming moot. So some of you that haven't been around since Gaming and BS, at one point in time, that big kind of push, because a lot of us had heard of each other through the show and interacted through forums and online discussions and Discord and things of that nature, was that many of us, I think, had our home groups, and we would run games for the home group, but some of our home groups only wanted to play like one game. And a lot of us were game masters, and a lot of us wanted to run different games. And there's a lot of good people in the chat, in the community, that have come to know each other from playing RPGs either at cons or online or interacting on the Discord, kind of getting certain vibes from individuals, even in the chat, right? Like seeing them in the chat and talking to them and seeing how they interact. And that was so we had a thing called the Gaming Moot, and that's when we had forums and stuff, and people would coordinate games to run just to, hey, if you want to run this is like my jam. I love this game. I don't get to run it enough. So I'll put it out there if other members of the community want to just get a taste of it. That was like, okay, great. Then it was, yeah, but I can never play on Wednesdays. And if that person was like 3 of 4, like number 4 of 4, and the GM was like, I got to have 4 to make it worth it, that game would never go. As a matter of fact, the Thursday night crew that I mentioned running Forbidden Land, or playing Forbidden Lands with, and the new docket of games, that's how we started. I looked online. We had the Gaming Moot. I wanted to learn and play Forbidden Lands, and those individuals had them listed as players of games of interest to them. And I just reached out to them and said, hey, I want to run this. Let's try it. And they were like, okay. And we've been playing. I think we've been together for like over 2.5 years. So BSRCon. I put BSRCon because of that Gaming Moot scheduling issue. Let's get people to be able to play RPGs with each other. But now the weekend, like you're blocking off the weekend, Friday night through Sunday afternoon. There you go. Like, if you want to play, this is when everybody's going to kind of set time aside and be available. And then we posted it public, which was fine. Not a big deal. Whatever. It's not Some people have kind of wondered what my intention with the whole BSRCon thing was anyways. So that's kind of the deal. That's the purpose of BSRCon, was to alleviate that and get everybody on the same page. We charge $5 the first year, and I donated all the money. And then people were like, you should earn something for your efforts. So I charged $10 the next year and donated half of the money. It was like $10 a badge. And then I donated $5 of every badge sale to Leukemia and Lymphoma Society. So I don't think there'll be money transactions this year if we especially do spreadsheet and not do tabletop events. But it'll be a spreadsheet. I'm not going to put it out to the masses. I may send it to an email newsletter list that I have from Gaming and BS, because there's some people that I've gamed with in the past and they've kind of faded in the background, and that's okay. Things, life, hey, it's not gaming. I'm not Gaming and BS. I'm just the S. So, but it would be cool if they showed up for, BSRCon and, played games with some of us, because I miss some of those guys. Some of us know some of those names, right? So I have a spreadsheet. It mimics the Gaming Moot, Digital Hobbit, Mirko, Froelich. The Discord had made it for the Gaming Moot. I just copied it and just said, okay, we'll have a GM sheet and a player sheet. And the thing is you can't just go in there and dick stuff up. So the players can list, 4 games they'd like to play. And then a game master can list 4 games they'd like to run, 3 games, 2 games they'd like to run. Maybe they're like, oh, I want to run these 2 games, but it doesn't seem like the interest is there. I'll go to the player sheet. Oh, there's a lot of players that are interested in running or playing against the Dark Master. Okay, cool. I'll offer that up. Set up a time. We'll assign a room to the game, and then we'll just make it happen. And it'll be January. I think it's like 17th to the 20th or 19th to the 21st. It's the 3rd weekend of January is what we're going to shoot for. So it's more invite only than anything, just because of the nature and spirit of the event, if you will. And I kind of toss around like the exclusivity piece, like it's just us, hey, it's only like, sorry, not accepting newcomers. But, whatever. So it's by invite only kind of thing. Like if you know somebody and they're not a knobhead, unknobheads welcome. So, but Sean, what is like a knobhead? Well, a knobhead is somebody that's disruptive to being a player, understanding the dynamics of the table and being interested in like playing in a game. I also will say that sometimes there's some individuals that want to play a new game and they just can't grok new games. And I'll also say this, by posting it publicly on tabletop events, you potentially, more likely than not, will get people that can't find games for a variety of reasons. It could be that they're just located in a weird spot and they don't have a local game group. But there are also folks that don't have a local game group because they've been kicked out of everyone they've ever been a part of. Awkward. So to create kind of a good, positive thing, that's the format. That's the route I'm going. There you go. So be it. Good. Agree. Disagree. That's, I think, how it's going to roll. So the spreadsheet's going to be a little clunky-ish, but I think it'll be all right. I have the Friday, Saturday, and I just literally have Friday morning, Friday afternoon, Saturday evening, 3 kind of times of the day that a game might be run, and you could just select, and then you can kind of muster and determine time frames and get into a thread or a discussion on Discord to determine when everybody can play that game. And hopefully it goes from like, I'm never going to be able to play on Tuesdays ever again to, can we just get it down to like 11 o'clock on Saturday morning, which could create its own little fiasco, but I don't know. We'll see. Yeah, there you go. 3 likes out of 30 people watching. Thanks, Flint. If your schedule can't align, that's understandable. Sean is curving the 8-ball. I am, and dude, curve without number, indeed. I just left a message in Discord to see if anyone is running tonight. I don't know if anybody's running anything tonight necessarily. 8 balls without numbers, just a series of cue balls, or billiards, if you will. CheapCon, go check out CheapCon. Also invite only with 1 jerk limit. That's been met. So there you go. It's Larry. RPG exit. Sean, off-topic question. Can I ask what type of camera do you use? Yes, you can. I've used many different ones. Right now I'm using the Osbot Tail 2, I think is the one. So it's got the tilt pan zoom. It's really nice. It's not the cheapest one on the block, but it's 4K. It's got a big CMOS sensor. So yeah, it's a good one. Absolutely. No problem. Let's wrap this sucker out so you guys can get on your way to things. Oof, I just locked my computer again. I got to really get rid of that thing. Thank you all for joining me. I also want to thank these fine individuals that back me on Patreon. Thank you very much. I really appreciate it. For those of you in the shock, Patreon went to pay for a subscription, or we're changing you to subscription, like you pay for a year. So if you got hit hard, I apologize. Patron it's Patreon. So, yeah, that's something to be aware of. I don't know if they emailed everybody or not. Maybe that was supposed to be up to me. I apologize if I dropped the ball on that. But otherwise, thank you everybody for supporting me, these individuals. And then thank you to each of every one of you for showing up and contributing to the chat. I really, really appreciate it. I really do every week. It's so fantastic to see each and every one of you taking an hour and a half, almost 2 hours to just sit here and listen to me blabber and interact with the chat and find out what's going on in gaming. So very much appreciate it. I really just thank you. To join a live stream is a camera. Here we go. Question: to join a live stream, is a camera with mic all you need, or software too? Not to get into this side tangent, but you need camera, USB, microphone. I would highly suggest, and then you need OBS and OBS is free. So do yourself a favor, Daryl. Is that all you need? It is time and something to talk about. But really, essentially, gear-wise, a decent computer, right? You could even do it on your phone now. I think YouTube has launched vertical, so you could set your phone up, you got your mic, got your camera, set it steady, and do vertical. Be as positive force in tabletop RPG hobby. Yep. If you mean a game on Discord, Zoom, or the like, camera and mic, then logging into the video sharing platform. Yes. So Arrogant's talking Daryl, are you asking live stream this or gaming virtually? 28 watching, 28 likes. Thanks Flint for looking out for me, man. Appreciate it. All right, let's get out of here. Be a positive force in the tabletop RPG hobby. Take some time to yourself, play some games, and we'll see you on the next one. See ya.